I'm not sure what the headline was for this matchup. It was probably Ronald Koeman facing off against his former team for the first time since he was sacked by Valencia back in 2008. Or maybe it was the American matchup between Yunus Musa and Serginho Dest, the first time two Americans have faced off in a Liga match together, but that's really a regional, here in the United States kind of storyline. I think regardless of what the storyline was prior to the match, the one after it became Koeman, but we'll get to that at the end. Because Koeman, the lineup he chose, I guess starts the whole idea that Ronald Koeman wound up being the star in this match review. Prior to the match, we were told that De Jong had a little bit of a knock, so they weren't going to force him into the match to at least start. So that meant that it was Pedri and Coutinho starting with Sergio Busquets behind, and the young center backs getting the start over Lenglet again, as they did midweek. I would say this is a 4-3-3 with four number 10s on the pitch, with Braithwaite up top, and I didn't mention Griezmann and Messi, but that rounds out the starting lineup. And so on paper, I think people even knew, seeing this, whenever you have the combination of Busquets and Coutinho, things have not happened well, as in 3 points have not been collected very often this season, and Valencia on the other side going with a 4-4-2. So just on paper, heading into the match, there were storylines, sure, but the lineups made you believe that this was going to be a difficult match for Barca, and indeed, it was just that. The first 25 minutes or so of this match, not much happened. For those who were paying attention, I was actually on the FC Barcelona Match Center on YouTube and then Barca TV for the post-game show. So I was actually waiting in line and speaking with them in the first 20-25 minutes. So all we really saw in that time period was an early penalty shout for Busquets. And everything for Valencia, though, because it was about 50-50, even though Barcelona had the lion's share of possession in that first half, Valencia were still getting their opportunities, and all of those were coming down the left side against Dest during that first half. It wasn't the best game for Dest, and as I've said on the podcast and other match reviews aplenty, even at his worst, because I really do think this was honestly one of his worst performances in a Barcelona shirt, but that was because Valencia put him on the back foot and continued to go down his flank, and he had to have a defensive game, which I thought garnered mixed results. He had a giveaway in the 28th minute that needed a Ter Stegen full stretch on a save, so luckily Ter Stegen also showed up for this competition. It looked like Barca deserved to get the first goal, but instead it was Valencia getting the 1-0. Another goal off a set piece for Barcelona that's back-to-back games given up by that center-back duo. Araujo doesn't look behind him, and no one communicates with him, and I think that might be what's more damning here about this goal scored. Araujo, who was shading to the near post, trying to double that run, didn't look behind him, and Diakhaby comes wide open, straight through the middle, 4 yards out, easy header goal. I think maybe the worst goal I've seen them give up this year, and I heard shouts that maybe it was the worst goal since Anfield, and that might be possible. I don't know if we've had an attacker for the opposition so wide open in the penalty box as Diakhaby was today. No other team, by the way, has conceded more goals from corners than Barca in the Liga this season. They're tied with 4, level with Huesca, who are down in the relegation fight. That is certainly something that needs to be improved upon. And one of those stats that you look directly at a manager and say, hey, these are coming off set pieces. You've got to have your team prepared. Because not only were they not prepared on set pieces seemingly today, they weren't really all too prepared in open play either. While Busquets did have a really good month, this was not it. This was his worst performance since Francesca and I, talking about him, if it was time to put him on the bench. That was about a month ago, and I thought he did rebound rather well in recent performances, but this was not the one. But almost in defense of Busquets, you look at the foursome of Braithwaite, Griezmann, Coutinho, and Messi, and then the fact that even if it's a 4-3-3, sure, the other interior is Pedri, who is an attacking midfielder at worst. And yes, he did play a double pivot in the Champions League this year, but that's a lot of defensive responsibility for Pedri. And to his credit, I thought Pedri followed up his Real Sociedad performance with a pretty fine one as well against Valencia. But Busquets just had too much to do, and even the things he had to do, he didn't do well enough. There was another penalty shout potential for Barcelona. It was Braithwaite in the 43rd minute. Not a penalty for me. It was 50-50, so we move on quickly. The 1-1 comes because Gaia brings down Griezmann in the box. Originally it was a red card, properly turned into a yellow, I think. Domenech with the well-saved penalty on Messi. Then Alba, though, on the rebound, Messi fading to the back post and will not be denied on the header. That's goal number 643. You've all seen graphics and you've all seen the adulation for that. Tying Pele for most by a player for a single club. Good to see that Messi's able to get that. I guess it's even better from open play. Comes on a header, and we saw that thing that Pele had said, that Messi is a one-trick pony, doesn't score with his head, and he gets the Pele-tying goal on a header. So poetic justice there, sure, but that just made the match 1-1. Busquets comes off for De Jong at halftime, shifting things to a 4-2-3-1, and it should have been 2-1 in the 48th minute for Valencia, but Cheryshev completely bottles it after Mingueza got beat by Guedes, and the square ball came in. He wasn't able to connect. So it looked like Barca took advantage of that, because then shortly thereafter, the 2-1, Ronald Araujo's first Barcelona goal with the first team, Griezmann to Mingueza, who was looking for the return, but it was blocked, and Araujo then, with the ball bouncing, a wonderful, wonderful side volley from Araujo, and certainly a goal that he'll never forget. That all started, though, I have to mention as well, from when Pedri cut out the counterattack by Guedes a few moments before, kept the ball in possession, won a 50-50 ball, just giving Barcelona the opportunity to get another look on net. And as I said, a lot of credit there. The most credit goes to Araujo with that sensational finish. A few moments later, as a lot have said, the turning point in the match, Domenech keeps out Braithwaite on a header. Some continuity in the second half with Braithwaite as the 9. He looked a lot better in that second half when he was operating as the sole striker. Griezmann as the 10 and Messi coming from the right. And I thought Griezmann was really good using Braithwaite as a reference point and Griezmann playing off him. Right behind, Messi had a bit of work to do on the right, but he was still very positive in this match, I thought, Messi, as Barca continued to go for it. Unfortunately, the storyline on the left side continues. Even when Coutinho was the interior, not much to add to the match. He goes out to the left, adds even less, comes off in the 79th minute. But before he did come off, Valencia were able to equalize. It was Gaia to Maxi Gomez. Gomez flicks it in, a run right across the goal. And as I said about the inexperience of Araujo and Mingueza, he gets beat by Gomez on that near post run. And that's one where PK, maybe even Lenglet, is going to crowd Gomez out and not let him get that foot in to redirect it. There's nothing Ter Stegen could have done. That it was a flick in on his opposite side. So that makes it 2-2. Up to that point in the match, I thought 2-2 was a reasonable scoreline, and both teams had earned that kind of scoreline. But Barca certainly at home had a chance and an opportunity to win it. But the questions now become, and why I think so much of the criticism of this match comes on Koeman as to why it wasn't a victory. 73rd minute, Griezmann comes on for Trincao, who not only has he yet to score his first goal for Barca or yet to get an assist, but he certainly is not feeling confidence at the moment. And you think leaving him out of this match wouldn't destroy the player completely. And it's another one of those opportunities where you put him in and he doesn't deliver, it might actually hurt his confidence. Because Trincao coming in on the right was, I think the idea was to hopefully coming in place of Griezmann to let Messi come into the middle as he did and allow some of the attack to go through the right side. But it didn't, because even up to that point, when Trincao was on the field for a few minutes, it was 15 times down the left, 12 through the middle, and just 6 down the right in the match. For Alba, on the other side from Trincao, Alba was the best of the bunch statistically in terms of 4 key passes on the day. He had a lot of crosses. Some were good, some were not. But Alba was bright in the match, and he was one of the ones that if Barca were to get a result, it was going to come through Alba in some way. Then in the 79th minute, so a few minutes later, Lenglet comes on for Coutinho, and this is the one that puzzles everybody. Pjanic was the one who was warming up, was about to come in the match, but instead, Koeman seemingly wanted to defend that 2-2 scoreline, or more likely had the idea that a 4-3-3 would allow Barcelona to keep their superior possession and continue to get opportunities on goal. So I think that was the thinking here. Switch the formation to the 3-4-3, not necessarily just put on a center back and say, hey, we're going to defend with all 3 center backs, because Mingueza was playing more as this roaming defensive midfielder and then stepping back as the 3rd center back. So it's not as if a player hadn't been pushed forward once Lenglet came on. Barca were able with their possession to win an opportunity 83rd minute, but Messi's free kick woes continued, not only missing the PK, but getting a really good look there on the free kick, unable to put it even on frame. It's over and wide once more, so Messi cannot win the match in such a way. 86th minute, instead of putting on Alenya, Puig, Carmen de la Fuente, you name it, whoever can add anything attacking, instead they go with Pjanic for Pedri, who, as I said, was one of the sole catalysts in this match of Barca having good opportunities, not just opportunities, because Barca had plenty of shots in this match. They had a few on target because Pedri helps them create good opportunities. For me, one of the worst showings of the season for Koeman. 4 games in the last 10 days at home, I should mention too, so a lot of football is being played. 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 5 goals scored, and 6 goals conceded. And again, the reason why this winds up being a bad look for Koeman, because as much as you had poor performances, yes, Coutinho went missing once again, but Koeman, not only with his starting lineup, even if De Jong is healthy, Koeman, I feel like he goes with the experience, but almost sets them up to fail in the way that those 2 center backs, the young center backs, yes, they made errors, but they're also a big reason why Barca were in this match at all. It was a hot and cold performance for the young center backs, but everyone else needs to be able to do their job and put 1 extra goal in the back of the net. And again, his subs are puzzling. We know the Puig story. But Alenya, I thought, could have added a little more than Pjanic. And we're in a position with Pjanic where with Busquets starting against Real Sociedad midweek and starting here, Pjanic has only really started in the Champions League. And he's already been very vocal of the fact that he doesn't like his playing time. And with Pjanic, it goes back to when he even came and was swapped for Archer, that maybe they just had sold Archer and didn't need to bring anybody back, but you knew that Juventus needed to get rid of Pjanic so they could balance their books too. And at the time, we knew that this is something that two big clubs just shaking each other on the hand, patting each other on the back. And for Barcelona, they didn't need Pjanic. They had Alenya, who's done a very similar job this season. But even not speaking about Alenya and Puig, Carmen de la Fuente is yet to make an appearance. He's going to play tomorrow for Barcelona B, sure. But I thought he should have come on for Trincao because it was that left side, combining with Jordi Alba, that is where Barcelona were getting their attack. So adding a left winger in that situation was going to be the most helpful thing. Sure, Barcelona are missing Dembele and missing Fati, but you still, looking at that bench, have players that could have fit in that position. I'm not saying that you throw Conrad de la Fuente into a position he's not ready for, but this was a match where his skill set made sense in the moment. He probably should have played in that match. And again, no disrespect to Trincao, but on that right side, that wasn't necessarily where the space was and what this match was calling out for. And certainly Lenglet coming in for Coutinho, that was not what this match was calling out for. 86th minute, Pjanic for Pedri, once more, not what this match was calling out for. So Koeman gets it wrong here on his subs, and Barcelona, I'm not saying they were fortunate that it was 2-2, because I think 2-2 was a fair result for two teams that had the most cataclysmic summer of any two teams in the Liga. So Valencia in the bottom half of the table trying to work their way. I mean, through it, they're going to have ups, they're going to have downs. And for Barcelona, they take their good momentum in the Liga. They were all the way up to 5th, and it seems like it's going to be stalled once again. But no time to think about it. Real Valladolid, where Valencia gives them trouble. Real Valladolid is a team that very rarely gets results against Barcelona. So that means 3 days, you got to travel on the road to face Real Valladolid, and Barcelona need the 3 points on Tuesday heading into that. It's not really a Christmas break because they play 1 week later, but to the holiday at the very least. And until that happens, I hope you give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.